Welcome back. It's John Sottery. How are you? It's been a couple months since I've been live on my own page, and I wanted to jump in here and see if I can, save you from some pain in your life. So there's a supplement mistake that millions of people are making around the world every day, and it really bothers me when I see people doing something because they're trying to get healthier, but in fact, it's actually increasing their risk of cancer. So I want to really show you guys how do you avoid that mistake. I'm also going to introduce you to a couple molecules that you may never have heard of. You can get these from food. You can get them easily. You could probably tweak what you do for snacks to get plenty of these. And both of these molecules do two really important things. One is they slow the growth of cancer cells. And number two, they trigger apoptosis. And apoptosis is what you want to have happen to cancer cells. It's called programmed cell death. And you want cancer cells to kill themselves when they recognize the damage. It's when they don't do that, that's when you end up with cancer. So I'm going to talk about vitamin E. And vitamin E, when they look at vitamin E in epidemiological studies, the diets like the Mediterranean diet that are high in vitamin E tend to have much lower cancer rates. And so because of that, they've taken vitamin E, or they've taken some form of it, and they put it into some interventional trials. But they don't see the effect. And whenever I see something like that where there's a mismatch, it means that you have a chance to learn something. So I wanted to dig into that, and a lot of researchers around the world have dug into that over the last several years. And I want to share with you what I think's going on. Okay, so the vitamin E that you get from your supplement, in the vast majority of cases, is not the same as what you get from healthy foods. Things like nuts, seeds, olive oil, pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, olive oil, things like that. So if you look at it at a molecular level, suddenly things start to make sense. So most people think of vitamin E as being a single molecule. So if you went out and you said to 1,000 people, hey, what's vitamin E? Well, 900 of them are probably going to look at you like, John, you didn't tell me there was going to be a quiz. But the other folks are probably going to say to you, oh, it's alpha tocopherol, or it's alpha tocopherol acetate. Okay, that is correct, but it's only 1/8 of the story, because vitamin E is actually a family of 8 different molecules. You have 4 tocotrienols, and you have 4 tocopherols. Now, the good news is I'm only going to talk about 3 of them today. I'm going to talk about the A team, which is alpha tocopherol, the G-men, which is gamma tocopherol, and then your delta force, which is delta tocopherol, obviously. And I want to show you the difference between what you get from olive oil and what you get from almonds and what you get from pecans and so on versus what do you get in the vast majority of the supplements. And in the supplements, you get something that I call the RAT. And, I gave it that acronym. It stands for racemic alpha tocopherol. That's where you get RAT. The problem with the RAT is that the RAT is not the same as what you get when you get vitamin E from foods. So before we get rolling, I'd love to know, where you're tuning in from, throw something in the comments section. Let me know where you're tuning in from, and if you know someone, who takes supplements. Sorry, somebody's in the room. They had the phone on. If you know someone who's taking supplements, take a second and share this video with them, or tag them in the comments so they have a chance to see it. Because, a small course change can save someone's life. And I'm a big believer that says you need to make smart moves when it comes to your health. One other thing I'd say, drop a 1 in the comments right now if you take any supplements. I'd be interested to see kind of the breakout of the people that are watching. Do you take supplements? Don't you? I try to eat good food, and I also take certain supplements because I think certain things are extremely difficult to get just from your diet. So I'm John Sottery. My doctorate's in chemistry. I'm very obsessed with health. I spend, hundreds or thousands of hours a year reading on PubMed, reading the scientific literature, because I want to make good health moves. And I'm always out there looking for things where I can learn from the research, learn from the top people around the world. What moves can I make to avoid those health icebergs? Icebergs that can end your life early. And, the two biggest icebergs, the ones that take the most people, are cardiovascular disease and cancer. So today last time when I talked about vitamin K2 and your arteries, that was about cardiovascular disease. This is about some smart moves you can make to avoid cancer. So the question is, what can you learn from the research that can help you minimize your risk of cancer? So one of the things that you can learn from the science that's happened in the last 10 years is that you need to avoid the rat, racemic alpha tocopherol. Now, before I go any further, I'm not providing medical advice. I'm sharing science with you guys. And in some cases, I'll share some of the strategies that, I personally follow. I want to tell you, always do your own research. Always vet the information, no matter who you hear it from. Look into it, dig into it a little bit, and always talk to your doctor to decide what's right for you, for your unique health situation and like that. Okay, so the first study I wanted to jump in and talk to you about, they were trying to uncover the factors that drive prostate cancer. And if you're a male, the prostate is the weak point in the male anatomy. 1 in 6 males in the U.S. will be diagnosed with prostate cancer. And it's the number 2 cancer killer of men. Here's the conversation I want to avoid real quick. I walk into my doctor's office. He goes, John, we get back your test results. Your PSA has jumped up significantly. We need to do 1 or multiple biopsies of your prostate. Depending on what we find, we're going to need to treat you with surgery and or radiation. And in a worst case scenario, if the cancer is spread, from your prostate, you're probably going to have to go through 1 or several rounds of chemo. So that's the iceberg. That's what I don't want to end up, drowning in the North Atlantic after I hit that iceberg. I want to avoid it at, any way that I can. So the first study was done at Johns Hopkins. It was published in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute back in 2000. They looked at alpha tocopherol, the A team. They also looked at gamma tocopherol, and they looked at selenium. Now, we're not going to talk about selenium today because we don't have time. So they went out and they got over 10,000 men. Actually, it was over 10,400 men. And they pulled a blood sample, and from the blood sample, they measured their alpha tocopherol and their gamma tocopherol. And they also measured selenium, but we won't get into that. They then followed them for 7 years. And here's the part that was interesting. The people that had high levels of alpha tocopherol did not see a reduction in their risk of prostate cancer. So that was, kind of disappointing. And the same thing for selenium. However, when they looked at the gamma tocopherol, the G-men, the people in the top 20% compared to the people in the bottom 20%, they had a 5-fold reduction in prostate cancer over the next 7 years. Not a 5%, a 5-fold reduction. I mean, I think about that, and if I could tell you, listen, I can get you a 5-fold increase in your salary, or, let's say you're out in the dating scene, I can help you with, achieve a 5-fold reduction in you getting rejected when you ask somebody out. It was statistically significant at a ridiculously high level. And I won't get into that because that'll make you guys all fall asleep. So alpha tocopherol didn't work. Selenium didn't work. Gamma tocopherol gave a 5-fold reduction. Pow. So as I was saying, if you guys have just joined, please let us know where you're tuning in from. Drop something in the comments. If you're watching this on the replay, type an R in the comments so I know you guys are jumping in on the replay, okay? So study number 2, we're not dealing with prostate cancer because the cancers that I'm talking about are really breast cancer, prostate cancer, colon cancer, and lung cancer. Those are the ones that seem to where the vitamin E, the natural vitamin E, seems to have the biggest effect. So the second study was a collaboration between East Tennessee State and the MD Anderson Cancer Center. They published it in 2006 in the journal BMC Cancer. They were looking at multiple colon cancer cell lines. And what you have to realize when it comes to something like colon cancer, not all the tumors are the same. They don't all have the same mutations. They don't all have the same genetic alterations, okay? So they didn't want to see if it worked on one mutation. They wanted to look at a range of different colon cancer cell lines and see what happened. Who are the contestants? You have the G-men, gamma tocopherol. You have the A-team, alpha tocopherol. What happened? The A-team, again, didn't work. You didn't see any significant decrease in the growth of the cancer cells or a significant increase in their death by apoptosis, where they've committed suicide. But the gamma tocopherol showed significant cell death across all the colon cancer cell lines, and it also significantly slowed their growth. Now that kind of fits with what they saw at Johns Hopkins, which says that gamma tocopherol can give you a 5-fold reduction in prostate cancer. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So now we have 2 different studies that say that alpha tocopherol, the widely known member of the vitamin E family that most of the supplements contain, doesn't seem to have an effect in prostate cancer and doesn't seem to have an effect in colon cancer. But gamma tocopherol seems to have an effect in both. So I want to take a second and you say, John, what the heck is going on here? So I want to teach you a little bit about vitamin E. So vitamin E has 3 optical carbons. There's 3 carbons that can be either right-handed or they can be left-handed, okay? And we won't get into the details. But when plants make molecules, they are such incredibly good organic chemists. They make something which only has the 3 right-handed carbons. And that's what you need to make a working alpha tocopherol or gamma tocopherol or delta tocopherol, whatever. Now, when they make it in the lab, each one of those carbons could either be right-handed or left-handed. So you end up with what's called a racemic mixture with 8 different molecules. So 12.5% of those molecules are the A team. 12.5%, 1 out of 8. 87.5% are molecules that don't exist in nature. They are the wrong optical isomers. They're closely related to it, but they don't work. And in fact, they get in the way. So why do I have a problem with the rat? First of all, from the clinical data, we're going to get to that next. But number 2 is the rat, racemic alpha tocopherol, has 0% gamma tocopherol. It also has 0% delta tocopherol. Those are the 2 that are the ones that produce, that seem to have the anti-cancer effect. And they have 87.5% cardboard cutouts. Why should that matter? Well, vitamin E is not water soluble. It's not like vitamin C where it can just flow through your bloodstream. It has to be transported in the body. And there are specific systems in place to transport the tocopherols. So if you are trying to get your special forces guys to the breast, to the prostate, to the lungs, to the colon, and you look on the train that's taking them to the front lines, and 87.5% of the seats are taken out by cardboard cutouts, that kind of sucks. And it really is going to, hurt the likelihood that you're going to have the right people at the right place to trigger apoptosis of your cancer cells. Now, one other thing, gamma tocopherol is also really good at quenching reactive nitrogen species. Things like the peroxynitrile radical. I knew you guys were going to ask that. And it also it seems to be a potent anti-inflammatory, so it shuts down this COX-2 pathway as well. So let's I'll let you guys catch your breath for a second. So if you just joined and you know somebody who takes supplements, take a second and share the video with them or tag them in the comments. And if you let me know you shared, I would be happy to give you a shout out, assuming I can read with this giant light in my face. So I want to change gears a little bit and show you some data on the rat. So the study is called the SELECT study, and it was funded by the U.S. government. They spent $114 million. And the goal was quite noble, and that was, can we prevent prostate cancer with vitamin E and with selenium? The results were published in the Journal of the American Medical Association in 2013. Now, this particular study, they had over 34,000 men. They followed these men for 5.5 years. Now, this was an interventional study, which means some people got placebo, some people got vitamin E, some people got selenium, and some people got both. Now, if I was on the committee that was designing the SELECT study, and I had read the work from Johns Hopkins, where over 10,400 men had a 5-fold reduction in prostate cancer if they had high blood levels of gamma tocopherol, I would have been fighting like hell to make sure that at least one leg of the SELECT study dealt with gamma tocopherol, because that seems to be the one that matters. But if I was going to protect my prostate, if I was going to protect my colon, my lungs, I would want to have plenty of gamma tocopherol. I'd also want to have some A-team, some alpha tocopherol, and I'd like to have some delta tocopherol, although that data is only a couple of years old. So the people that put the SELECT study together, they didn't have the benefit of seeing that. Here's what actually happened, and it's kind of sad. Instead of giving people at least a leg with gamma tocopherol or mixed tocopherols, they gave people 400 international units of the rat, the synthetic vitamin E. And again, 0% of the G-men and 0% of the delta force. And guess what happened? Well, first of all, it didn't work. The vitamin E group didn't end up with less prostate cancer. And the selenium didn't work either. But then they noticed that some people that got the vitamin E actually had higher cancer than the group that just got the placebo. And there was a lot of news media coverage on that. Oh, vitamin E causes cancer and so on. And that pissed me off a little bit because they didn't use vitamin E. They used the rat. They used racemic alpha tocopherol. And guess what? If you dig into their study and you pull out table 2, and I don't know if you guys can see this, but I wrote on there, what happened when they gave people the rat, even after just 6 months, the G-men in their blood, they were cut in half. So they were displaced by the rat. The rat was on the train, the rat was in the transport thing, and they actually cut the level of the G-men down in half. And so at the end of the study, they decided they would keep following the people for another 7 years. And guess what? After that 7 years, the people that got the rat had a statistically significant 17% increase in prostate cancer. So they took it for 5.5 years, they stopped, and then over the next 7 years, there was a statistically significant increase in prostate cancer. So to me, it's pretty clear what happened. The rat displaced the gamma tocopherol and likely the delta tocopherol as well. And it was really unfortunate because, that study started in 2001. The article was published in JAMA in 2013, and we lost a lot of time. And if the Johns Hopkins work hadn't come out before that, then I could understand why they didn't test gamma tocopherol. But with it out before that, it doesn't make any sense to me. I think it's very unfortunate. So, last thing on the study side, they did 295,000 men. They looked at dietary gamma tocopherol, and what they showed was the men with the highest level of dietary gamma tocopherol had the lowest prostate cancer. So they were looking at what do they consume in their diet. So the guys that ate more olive oil, more nuts, more pumpkin seeds, things like that, had the lowest risk of prostate cancer. And again, with almost 300,000 people in the study, The statistics were overwhelming that that was the case. So what can you do about it? So what are your take-home points? Because I just buried you with a bunch of stuff. So this is the only part you really have to worry about. Step number 1, avoid the rat. Avoid racemic alpha tocopherol. Do not supplement with it. Normally it's going to be labeled as D, L, alpha tocopherol or alpha tocopherol acetate. So D, L, so David, Larry. And if you are going to avoid the rat, drop something in the comments to say I'm avoiding the rat, or But again, I follow my guidance, and that is do a little bit of homework yourself before you do anything. And again, if you know someone that takes supplements, share this with them because they're probably doing this and they probably are not aware of the science. So avoid the rat. Number 2 is you want to eat foods that provide plenty of natural vitamin E, all 8 molecules, the tocotrienols and the tocopherols. Now, in food, alpha tocopherol is not the major version of vitamin E. It's actually the G-men. The gamma tocopherol is the dominant version. So, vitamin E exists in nature to keep nuts and seeds and olives from going rancid. So, how do you get it? Eat olives. Consume a lot of, high-grade olive oil. Consume nuts as your snack. Ditch the chips, ditch the candy bar. Get some almonds, get some pecans, get some sunflower seeds, get some pumpkin seeds. You can also get some from spinach, and you don't need me. You can Google to look at the vitamin E content of food. Now, each food has a different blend of those 8 molecules. Now, if you take a supplement, make sure it is the mixed natural tocopherols and that it's high in gamma tocopherol. Now, the natural tocopherols will be in the R form, the correct form, because when it's made by plants, plants make the optically pure version. Now, there's another thing that can happen where you can get hurt by the rat, even if you're, even if you're avoiding it, you don't supplement with it. Other people may, bring it into your diet. So here's some organic almond milk. But if you can see that, and I don't know if you can, but if you can see the ingredient statement, they give you 50% of your daily vitamin E in every, 8-ounce serving. Here's the downside. The person that formulated that food doesn't understand that if you use the rat, you're actually probably doing more harm than good. And so most of the processed food, whether it's considered to be all natural or organic or whatever, most of the processed food, when they put vitamin E into it, they actually put in the rat, the racemic alpha tocopherol, the DL form. So I'm in the process of wrapping up. I'd like to do a quick shout out to Dr. Yang and his research group at Rutgers, because they've done some beautiful animal studies, not just on the G-men, but also on the Delta Force guys, the delta tocopherol. And they're showing just how potent they are in terms of preventing cancer. So they've done a lot of work, a lot of animal studies, and so on. You got to remember that they have done studies, other researchers, they've introduced one cancer cell into an animal, and then the animal can get cancer. You need to turn on these mechanisms that your body has to protect itself from cancer. You need to get those cancer cells to commit suicide. They need to undergo apoptosis. So if this was useful for you, please, share it. And if you'd like to get more, content, information like this, please follow me. Probably the best place to go would be my public page, Dr. John Sottery. So, go to that page. It's public on Facebook, and follow me. And that way you'll get notifications when I go live. And you can also, if you want, you can send me out a friend request to my personal page, which is John Sottery. I hope, like I said, I hope this was useful to you. If you're interested in the actual studies themselves, just type the word link into the comments, and I'll send you links to the scientific articles that we discussed. I hope this proved useful to you. I got a whole new setup in here. I'm trying to get used to it. So hopefully the lighting and the sound, everything else worked out okay. And again, if you know someone that takes supplements, please share it with them, because no one takes supplements because they want to increase their risk of getting cancer. So thanks for tuning in, you guys. It means a lot to me. I really appreciate people, get interacting, and send me some questions in the comments. I'd be happy to try to answer those to you. So until next time, I'm signing off, but take care, you guys.